Welcome to another AMA with Kadena Ecosystem. In this episode, we'll be speaking with the team from UNITT. This conversation was recorded on June 1st, 2023, live on Twitter Spaces. The views and expressions in this AMA do not represent the views of Kadena Ecosystem directly and are not to be considered as financial advice. Please make sure to do your own research on the projects presented. Also make sure to follow and subscribe to our account to be alerted of new uploads. Now let's get started. Enjoy. Welcome to another AMA with Kadena Ecosystem. Today we have joining us the team behind UNITT. They are a really cool messaging app that is being built on the Kadena Ecosystem. So I'd like to welcome you guys to the stage and thank you for joining us today. And why don't we just start off with a brief introduction about yourselves and what UNITT is all about. So take it away.
So hello, Chris, and good evening, everybody. My name is Pekka Mäkelä, and I'm the founder and team lead, basically, of the Universal Transaction Token project. It's great to be here and finally get to talk a little bit with the nice Kadena community. So perhaps if I start with a little bit of background about myself. Originally, I'm a basic nuts and bolts engineer, but most of this century I've been working with IT. Since 2015, I started with a research project which looked into digital identities and encryption software. And I started a company called Signet Digital, which produces a encryption software mainly to governmental customers. It's a very simple but effective encryption tool that turns any Android or iOS device into a sort of governmental grade communication device. I'm not working anymore on daily basis with that company. I'm still owning a little bit of it and supporting whichever way I can. And this has made me available to other kind of projects, and I have been very, very interested with digital identities in the larger picture of things. And I soon realized that decentralization and blockchain are probably the most important innovations and tools to enable us to take ownership of our own digital identities and also digital assets in the future. And this led me to get a team around myself, and since about 1 year we've been building the Universal Transaction Token project, and maybe we can talk a little bit more about it, but now I would like to ask my co-founders to have a little say about themselves. So maybe Jussi, the first Jussi, can you take it on? Chris, can you make Mikko Ville the next speaker, or the other Jussi?
The other Jussi is already up as a speaker, so if he wants to go right ahead, he can go right ahead and speak. And I will also send Mikko here a invite to speak.
All right. Hello, everyone. My name is Jussi Mäkelä. This is just a funny coincidence with the other Jussi Mäkelä. We are not related and just happening to be in the same team. So I'm a UX and UI designer at UNITT with over 20 years of experience. I've contributed to dozens of projects and running my own IT company. Being part of the UNITT team is very exciting. I think we are on a cusp of creating something that could be truly impactful. Glad to be here and looking forward to hearing discussions today. And over to Mikko or other Jussi.
Yeah, either or. You guys are both have your speaker role, so I don't know if maybe Mikko wants to go next.
Sure. I'm not sure if it was in my end, but the previous Jussi voice was a little bit choppy. Let's hope it works better for me. So I've been a full stack developer and a UX designer for over 20 years, and I've been into IT since, I guess, late 90s. I got into this project after Pekka started talking about his idea, and I was sort of like crypto naive before that, but I've been working sort of like on various kinds of technologies, embedded systems and web applications, mobile applications, all kinds of stuff. So this was sort of one more tool in the toolbox to learn about decentralization and it's been I think it's a really interesting project, and I don't know what else I could say about myself at this point, but maybe if anybody has any questions, I'd be happy to answer those.
Can you guys hear me now?
Yes.
Yep, now we can hear you good.
Oh, thank you. Technology failed me, as is always the case, sort of demo effect and live broadcast effect and all rolled into one. So apologies for that. So just a brief intro. My name is Jussi Mäkelä. So we do share the same name with Pekka because we are brothers, and with other Jussi Mäkelä, like he said, Jukka said. It's a pure coincidence. So this is confusing. Maybe Finland is a very small country. I didn't think it was that small, but nevertheless, there's there we go. We have two surnames across the whole team. My background is I'm perhaps the only one here who is not a technology person. So I if you excuse my sins, I started my career I was in investment banking in London. I'm Finnish, but I spent most of my time in London. So I was in investment banking first, maybe around the sort of first 10 years of my career. Then I realized I need to go somewhere else, and I was in a publishing company in various roles over the previous 10 years. So done a number of different types of things in there. Perhaps most relevant to this one, I ran an industry association. I set up a blockchain consortium for them as well. They were basically a group of international telcos who wanted to see the decentralization as an opportunity, as a tool to basically automate a number of the different things that what they were doing, the business processes and so forth, moving away from, meeting with each other and sending emails and PDFs and try to automate that. So that was relevant. But obviously also from a kind of a publishing standpoint, what that really was a kind of also a significant, because you could see there, and I was sort of like trying to be, and was trying to make a difference there, but in a publishing is like how hard it actually is in order to make to monetize, to actually make money from the content. So when you're talking about, even in business to business type of media, you're talking about publishing trade magazine, publishing research reports, publishing all of that, and just to make some kind of a revenue for that is very difficult. And that also, it's a kind of like, we have a number of different things around the team that all coming together around this, the notion of the UNITT project, which is around this notion from my side, is that how can you actually make this whole system of commercializing more democratic, commercializing what you own, what you have produced. How can you actually make money out of that better without actually relying on big platforms to do it for you, and then they pay you whatever they want to pay you, but have that direct between the consumer who actually wants the content, or who is interested in your network, who is interested in approaching you somehow, and yourself without anybody in between. So all of that coming together in the sort of unit. But I don't know if I kind of, maybe if it's worthwhile if I hand over to Pekka, if you want to sort of like maybe take through what the unit actually is.
Yep, that was going to be exactly where I go to next, is maybe explain to the community what the UNITT app is going to be, because right now pretty much they just think it's just like a messaging app, but I've had my hands on the app as a tester, and there's a lot more involved to it like that than just simple a messaging app. So maybe just kind of go through what the UNITT app is all about and the cool features that people are going to be able to do with this.
Yeah, cool. So what we are basically doing is that we want to build a tokenized payment infrastructure for all sorts of content and chat-based interaction. So we basically understand and realize that all interactions are somehow valuable. Like a simple hello might not be that valuable, but still all interactions in internet, they carry some kind of value for us. So in practical terms, that means that we started by building a tokenized instant messaging application, which is the UNITT Messenger. And it lets you buy and sell practically any digital content. For example, you could set a price for just basically an URL pointing to any publishing platform, and then share it to your audiences, or sort of like let it be found in the application for like new people who might be interested in your content. But the tokenization also means that you can have a practical way to monetize any other chat-based interactions, such as, example, engaging with your sort of like friends and followers and customers. You can offer customer service or consultation or anything like that by, simply setting a price for the content you are offering. But it also enables to monetize like automated chat-based services, such as like artificial intelligence chatbots. So this is very interesting to us in that sense that we feel that almost all new services in internet are thinking that they could monetize their service with a subscription-based revenue model. But when people start to realize that they are using hundreds and hundreds of dollars or euros every month for different kind of subscription-based services, starting from Netflix to whatever, the market is quite saturated. So if there is a way to monetize content delivery without having to go to subscription, like interaction based, then this could be a vehicle for many other kinds of innovation that are trying to utilize the chat based service model. So this is why we basically chose the instant messaging as the first, like the starting point to our ecosystem. It has a familiar user experience, and it can, it is able to, you can share a lot of different kind of content and activities inside the basic instant messaging user experience. So that is why we chose that. We don't know what happens in the future, so we have to be, as open and as interoperable also to let, new innovation to come into this space. So basically, this is what we are doing, and the UNITT Messenger is now on alpha. We decided to open that for all interested people to try it out, because this is also some kind of like shout out from us to the community that, hey, we've been thinking and building this kind of an application, and what do you think about it? So if any of my colleagues have something to add on that, please go ahead.
I just sort of echo, don't want to repeat that, but there's a number of things, and if we're thinking about in some of the use cases we mentioned, and it's as the first application through a messenger type application. What it also means is that enables that direct connection between the whoever is being followed, the creator in this case, and whoever is following them, which then enables that kind of like a much easier way. So like simply that, you are sending your newsletter, for example, and you can set a price to it, and you can send it directly to your followers, and you can sort of both communicate with them and, potentially monetize that all in the same place. So that's the kind of like, the idea is that we just want to make it as simple and easy as possible to adopt, but also to kind of remove that sort of reliance on having a central platforms in there to orchestrate all of that kind of money traffic. And this is the great thing what tokenization enables, where blockchain enables, which is now possible that weren't necessarily so just very few short years ago.
I love the idea of kind of taking the control and the monetization back and giving it to the people, because if most people don't realize, any of these free apps that you use out there, if the app is free, then you are the product. Your data is the product, and that's where these companies are making their millions, sometimes billions of dollars off of, is the data that they're getting from their free users. And this kind of seems like a way to take that back and give it to the people, and for them to be able to monetize their own data and their own information and their own social media stuff, instead of letting it all go into these centralized huge corporations. So really, it definitely is something that needs to be stepped up, and definitely a very exciting use case for blockchain. Now, speaking of blockchain, what made you guys decide to choose to go with Kadena? And was Kadena your original choice of chain to work with?
Yeah, maybe I can answer that. It was the first and only choice, actually. It goes back a little bit. About a couple of years ago, a friend of mine who was really into crypto and was looking through all these projects, he started talking about this new project that he called like a Bitcoin on steroids, and he said like these guys have written their own smart contract language, and was raving about the gas prices and all this stuff. I was a little bit ignorant about the technology behind it at that time, but we kept talking about it, and then when Pekka came to me with this idea, I think that was that was one of the, or probably the first thing that came to my mind. Like, we need a scalable, fast, and secure a technology. And when you're talking about something like instant messaging, we can't have like a technology where the gas prices, change drastically. Like sometimes your instant message would cost like 5 cents in gas, and then like $5, something like that. So I started then like really seriously looking into Kadena. I was really positively surprised by, like, I thought like smart contracts, like they have to be really complicated, and there's all these security things, and Solidity has been hacked so many times and so much money has been lost. And then when I was looking at back and reading about the technical details behind it and the team and everything, it was just so mind-blowing that I never even considered anything else. I just started learning how to write Pact, and that was it. I think realistically it was the only choice. So, and I've been happy with what the team's been doing for now, for 2 years I've been following it. So it seems to be going in the right direction, and I think we've made a right choice.
I think maybe to add, you were breaking up a bit, Mikko. Well, I don't know if it's your microphone or what, but
there's something in the air.
Okay, so
Twitter Spaces has been kind of derpy the past couple weeks or so. So
yeah, we it was even in the news here in Europe about some presidential thing happening just last week. So maybe they still have some issues on that. I don't know if our AMA is quite as popular as that one, but maybe it's the same reason.
Well, it's great to hear, though, that you guys chose Kadena, because it's definitely something that is definitely above the way once you really dive into Kadena and the features like Pact and things built on top of it, and that it's a proof of work chain that is highly scalable. You really start to see the benefits that come along with KDA and building a product that's not only going to be secure, but something that's going to be able to scale and basically meet any needs that you're going to have to build your products. Now, when it comes to security, one of the things that I was going through your website that you mentioned about repeatedly is SSI. Maybe if you wouldn't mind giving a little description of what SSI is and how it's important in regards to UNIT.
Shall I try take that one? So SSI, which stands for self-sovereign identity, which is obviously many people view as a critical element in terms of this empowerment of the user, again, when it comes to their digital life, their interaction in the internet. What it basically means that you as the user, as the owner of your own identity, have full control over what is actually shared about you, what information is stored about you, and who gets to see what on what terms. Obviously, this is something in a kind of like a platform. We were talking earlier about that you are the product, and that's exactly how the major internet social media platforms make their money. They sell the data basically they sell advertising, but they can charge a lot of money for those advertising rates that they charge because they have the information and the knowledge of who is actually watching those ads and what type of demography they are and so forth. In an SSI environment, that's not going to be possible. The only person who can do that is yourself, is the user themselves. Now, this, of course, causes a lot of complications. One of the things why we do like to use those platforms is that because it is easy. Very easy. Somebody else takes care of all of that. Most of the people don't even care. They don't even know, when they talk about their data, that what's actually being held and so forth. But but in the future and going on, especially about the opportunities when you're doing something like earning. Let's say a simple situation. You have your own community, you have your own followers in any type of media. Now those followers, those connections belong to you and not to the platform in which you're actually using. But how do you actually ensure that if you move from one platform to the other, you can basically take your network with you? Now in an SSI environment, you can do that. Similarly, if you want to, for instance, share some data about you, and this is what we see as the sort of like the 2.0 then as we move forward on the unit as well, is that it allows individuals then to exploit their own data in the sense that if I'm a certain demography and which is attractive, for instance, to an advertiser, why can't I make the money out of it and sort of tell the advertiser that this is who I am, and you can and the advertiser obviously would be perhaps more interested in paying more if you are the right type of demography. And this is where the SSI again kind of comes in, the ability to actually share your credentials, actually share verifiable credentials. And of course, it's a sort of like the thirdly as well is that it's the sort of the impact on the security. The fact that where we have so much of fraud, for instance, and all other kind of questionable activities, that because it's a virtually costless to just set up any number of identities. You can claim whatever they are. There's no way of verifying anything. You can no way of verifying who you actually are and all that. Through self-sovereign identity and through a the appropriate standards, your appropriate standards that you can use, we can sort of ensure that it becomes more and more costly and time consuming to actually build your identity and have those verifiable credentials there, which then means that we can also, in the future, eliminate that kind of a fraud, which is a plaguing most of the platforms and anything like that. So all of it is absolutely fundamental in there, but of course, there is still a development to do in terms of where do we see that kind of a proliferation of what types of SSI standards. Are we going to have a number of different types? Are they all connected to some kind of a official identity or what? But the opportunities obviously could be significant for all of us.
And if I may add something to this discussion, is that when we started with the project, we thought that the self-sovereign identity model would be in the center of all. But then we soon realized that actually a unit identity in our application, which is local, it's already a self-sovereign identity, and so we sort of pushed a little bit forward these credential and verified credential type of things towards the roadmap, since we are seeing a lot of interesting developments in this field, also with Kadena, with the zero knowledge proof stuff being developed, that the real self-sovereign identity model will be reality in the near future, but we need to start with some kind of identity to get things going. But as I mentioned, when you create your own identity in the UNITT application, then you basically are self-sovereign, because it's actually decentralized and there's no platform to govern over your digital identity.
Awesome. Yeah, because that's one of the main things of one of the main ethos of blockchain as a whole is taking back control to the person level, and giving that being that people can now create their own kind of digital identity that they have full control over through your application is definitely one of the steps forward towards that path that was originally set out when Bitcoin was originally created, and the whole ethos of self-awareness, self-control, and self-identity. Now, one of the other things that kind of go along the lines of this and the monetization aspect is a kind of a feature that you guys have on your site called Create. Now, could we maybe go into what Create is about, and also possibly what Ontochain is, and the fact that you guys have been selected to be part of their kind of organization and what Onto is all about? So maybe kind of explain to people what Create and Ontochain is.
Yeah. So late last summer, we applied to a European Commission's next generation internet framework program called Ontochain. So their aim is to create a European-wide blockchain infrastructure for all kinds of things. And we applied for a research grant. So we thought that the idea we had with UNITT, or actually a piece of the sort of puzzle we are doing with UNITT, might be of interest to the Ontochain community. So we created this project called Create, which means basically a content registry system where you can register on the blockchain your content, and then you can monetize it. And this is actually a part of the UNITT Messenger too, but we are calling it Discovery in the UNITT Messaging app. So basically, we are doing the create part as a project for the Ontochain program, but the rest of the UNITT Messenger is what we do only by ourselves. So basically, the technology we've been developing with the research grant from the Ontochain goes directly also to the UNITT Messenger.
Yeah, so maybe I add a little bit to that as well. Can you hear me, by the way?
Yep.
Yep.
Can hear you loud and clear.
Sorry. So the speaker thing it stopped flickering, so I didn't know whether you can hear us or not. But yeah, exactly. So the idea again is that there is, on one hand, you have this sort of the direct one-to-one interaction, which is enabled through a direct messaging functionality. But then there's always the kind of the big question, and especially when it comes to blockchain, is that how can you actually put stuff available that I have created in a way that it can be found and sold. If I put it in there. So this is at the core of the create, which is this content registry, where we effectively register the metadata and that kind of information which goes in the blockchain, but not necessarily the content, which actually isn't necessarily that different from your NFTs on an OpenSea or something like that. Quite often, what you have the NFT is just something that points to where that piece of art potentially is. So it's a kind of a similar principle, but simplified much more to make it much more practical, in the sense that I can effectively still fully control. I can use any type of publishing platform that I want to do. I can even share Google Docs through that. And what it does is that I just have encrypted way of then sharing that link where it points to, which I will share with you, provided that you pay me in order to see that. And so that applies to anything. You can share videos, you can share anything like that and all that, which then makes everything searchable. It makes everything foundable. And also, I know that every time somebody wants to, or if anybody wants to watch my content or my creations, whatever that case might be, I can also get paid. So I can set my own price, and I'm not sort of reliant on sort of any type of platform, say rules and regulations.
That's great. It's definitely, like I was saying, it's definitely bringing control back to the person and back to the individual. And that's really important when it comes to moving forward in this Web3 world. Now, one of the really cool things I noticed inside of the app is the ability to interact with ChatGPT. AI and things are really starting to pick up and really starting to be prevalent in our society, and becoming more and more so in the blockchain space. Now, what do you guys see as being the future of AI and the best ways that we can utilize that, like you guys are through your chats, through your messenger service and chat service, and other ways that you see in the future that AI will play a big role in the Web3 space?
So maybe if I can just add something kind of quickly, and if anybody else wants to pick that up, but I think that's absolutely right. And I think that the kind of integration, what we've done for demonstration purposes for ChatGPT is exactly that it goes to what Pekka was mentioned earlier, the kind of like, the ability to moving into using these value-added services that are not reliant on advertising, because the only reason why Google provides search, is able to provide search, is because of the ads that they sell. Maybe, Microsoft Bing in the same way. And it's actually, search it's another one of these things. Like, sadly, there was a company, I don't know if anybody here in the community used Neeva, which was a paid for search engine, which also used a AI in coming in there where you wouldn't have impact on advertising, and they had a subscription model. Sadly, they couldn't make it work. It's just very recently, I think they had to close the business. So it's a kind of one of these things that, whatever you decide to do in terms of this area, there's also the business model and how do you actually commercialize it is ultimately the one that makes it that makes or breaks you in a way. And this is the sort of the flexibility that we want to sort of facilitate through this ecosystem. But in terms of, I don't know if Pekka or Mikko, Ville or Jukka, if you have any sort of further thoughts on AI in general and where it's going.
Yeah, so my take on the subject is that, as I mentioned, when we start seeing all these different kinds of AI services that are more specialized on different kind of topics and not just the one general GPT service, they need to have a business model, and it's not realistic to think that, for example, that I have a sort of like a, let's say, legal service AI that the customers would want to pay a recurring subscription on a specialized service for that. So we need a way to sort of monetize shorter interactions than continuous use. And this is why we feel that tokenization in general and the universal transaction token and our project particular can offer a solution for specialized AI chatbot services, and also, as Jussi mentioned, a way to monetize specialized search also by actually setting a price for a single interaction. So if I want to use a, let's say, legal AI and I want it to create some kind of like document base for me, then I can ask for it and pay for the results one time and not commit into a subscription when I probably won't need that service for longer periods of time. So this basically, the tokenization enables us to monetize like meaningful one-to-one interactions on a sort of transactional base. So not subscriptions, but getting paid for one single service.
Yeah, that sounds awesome. I just kind of played around with it in the app and was like, wow, this is way better than having to, because ChatGPT, there is a free version of it that people can utilize, but it is a subscription-based model. And if you want to utilize all the full support, like full internet interaction with ChatGPT, you have to pay, I don't know, I think it was like $20 a month or something like that to get the full version, where it makes more sense to pay per search kind of idea, as opposed to, like you said, the monthly thing where, someone could get the monthly subscription, use it for a whole bunch for a month, but then next thing you know, they're not using it as much to really justify the whole subscription model. So breaking that down into a tokenization per interaction kind of model is definitely a way forward, and definitely, I think, makes a lot more sense when it comes to that. Now, speaking of the UNITT token, is this token going to only exist within the UNITT ecosystem, or are there plans to add the token as a tradable token on like a DEX or anything like that outside the app, or is it strictly for the UNITT users within the application?
So if I take that, I think so. Absolutely, the core idea is that it has to be fungible. You have to be able to move. It's your tokens. You have to be able to take it out. You have to be able to move it whichever wallet account you want to do and exchange it to whatever currency, fiat, whatever you then need to do that. So we want to create this kind of an ecosystem where a UNITT is really the sort of the token, the utility token, the payment, whatever you want to call the sort of like mechanism between there, but that it's fully fungible. So we will be we will, and probably sooner rather than later, by the time we get to the beta launch, we will look to launch a token that could then be fully transferable across all the Kadena accounts, Kadena ecosystem.
Awesome. Yeah, because that's kind of if you're going to be a creator and you're going to be utilizing this system, you want to have a way to be able to, because unfortunately right now, the most of the world doesn't accept crypto. I'm not going to be able to pay my rent with crypto or buy my groceries with crypto. So, a lot of these content creators are going to need a way to take the monetization funds and turn it into a quote unquote real world asset, which even fiat's not really it's only as real as we believe it is. Crypto is much more real. Crypto is much more real than any fiat system out there when you actually look into how the systems work. But that's a whole other conversation. It's definitely something moving forward that is going to be definitely needed. So let's before we kind of get to near the end of this thing, let's maybe talk about how people can get their hands on UNITT and how they can get involved with the app, and maybe if you have any kind of sneak peeks into other things in the future that you may be working on. We'd love to hear any kind of secret alpha or something that you haven't let slip yet. People love hearing those inside information.
So yes, in general terms, we wanted to go technology first. So this is perhaps something that other crypto projects, we didn't launch the token first and then start to develop the technology, rather vice versa. So we want to be as ready as possible and then figure out the proper and the most sort of balanced way to actually launch the actual token. So we are at the moment planning the tokenomics for the UNITT ecosystem, and of course, when we are moving towards the beta launch, which would be the actual working, open and on the Kadena blockchain working UNITT messenger, then we need to establish all of these things. And we've just started our engagement with the Kadena community, and we are very interested to hear what people think, how these things should be done properly. So definitely technology first, then tokenomics are something that then clicks onto place after that. I think that the UNITT Alpha that is now being tested by the members of the community is pretty much the same that we are going to see on beta. We wanted to test it out and hear people's opinions about the UX, the user experience, and the utility of this application, and if and when the sort of it has been well received, then we will definitely go forward with it towards the actual stable beta launch, hopefully later in the summer, early fall.
And on a practical point, so if anybody wants to sort of sign up for the beta, just on our website, so UNITT with 2 T's, unit.io, and you can put your name down there. Of course, we're also always willing to and interested of hearing if there's anybody who is who has ideas more from a kind of developer sort of perspective and all that sort of thing. So if you have something and you want to potentially be in part of the project, just give us a shout, send us a note, and we'll always be interested in hearing about people.
Now, I noticed in my beta invite that I got, or alpha invite I got, that currently it's only available for Android. Is there any updates on iOS? And trust me, we fully understand the heartaches and issues of getting an app onto the Apple App Store. Our Koala wallet, it's a constant uphill battle, it seems, with Apple all the time. You never get the same reviewers twice. They nitpick at every little thing. You keep sending them the same information over and over again. Any updates on an iOS version?
I don't know. Mikko will. I see that he's a listener. He's probably getting. I know he's working on that one, and probably getting a heart palpitation every time he hears that sort of like the iOS. But it's definitely, obviously, it's a critical piece as well to get that iOS. I don't think Mikko is showing as listener, so he probably can't speak that. But I believe that it is not that far away. Are you here, Mikko?
Yes, I'm here now. I just had to boot my device.
So over to you.
Yeah.
Over to you.
Yeah. So about the iOS version, I think we can get the alpha version or beta version for iOS up relatively soon. But it's just the installation of the application for the tester is just a little bit more involved. The process there was I've done it before, and it requires several steps more than with an Android device. All kinds of like device IDs and that sort of stuff. But it should be possible, and of course we're working hard on it because it's still a sizable portion of the users. So stay tuned. I think we will get it running hopefully sooner than later.
No, I fully understand on that. We've gone through those pains as well, and yeah, dealing with a test version on Apple is nowhere near as easy as dealing with test versions on Android. Because with Android, you pretty much just need a Gmail account that's linked to their Play Store, and you're good to go. Whereas Apple, you need the UUIDs, you need all this other information, and they really make you jump through hoops to do it.
For sure.
It's kind of a shame, but it is what it is.
It is what it is.
I'm sure iPhone users are kind of used to it. But you got to do what you got to do. And I got to say though, the version that I got for Android is very clean, very crisp. Its functionality is really good. I was able to upload some things through the discovery, able to buy some other things from other users and read them easily. Everything worked great. I loved the fact that, it's secured kind of in the same way that a wallet is secured through a recovery phrase, which is really awesome. And that kind of thing is also going to help with overall blockchain education and teaching people the importance of recovery phrases, keeping your information secure, and all of those kind of great things that come along with self-sovereignty and self-reliance. So really kudos on the app development. You guys did a really excellent job there. And I can't wait to really see what comes out of the full produced product when it comes out. I'll be very excited and be making sure to follow along as well. But I think that's pretty much, if there's anything else that we didn't cover that you guys would like to speak on, feel free to go ahead. But I want to thank you guys for joining us today. It's been absolutely amazing learning about this project, and lots of really good things in the future.
Thank you so much. And sorry, Pekka, boss, you go first.
No. I don't mind who goes first, but thanks a lot. It's been a real pleasure talking with you, and hopefully we will be doing these things more in the future. So we are we have just taken the first steps, basically.
Yeah. And like Jussi said, we'd be happy to hear any ideas and thoughts about the projects and from the community and members of the ecosystem and the contributors. So please don't be shy. Give us a shout.
Absolutely, and also shout out, thank you very much to Kadena Ecosystem, Chris. You're doing an amazing job in terms of orchestrating and singing the gospel, and it's great to have people like you sort of behind us on this. So it's looking forward to doing more of these and hopefully vice versa soon as well.
For sure. Whenever you guys have anything to share, definitely do not hesitate to reach out to us. There's a very good chance that you'll be getting a message from us very soon, because I'm sure our team here at Eucalyptus Labs would love to have you guys, possibly if you're on Discord, join our server and maybe let our developers pick your brain a little bit. And maybe we can work on some collaborations together that way, along with like Koala Walla and things like that. We would love to have you guys come into the fold.
Definitely. Sounds great.
All right. Well, thank you very much, everyone, for joining us today. It's been an absolutely amazing conversation. Make sure you guys follow UNITT, follow them here on Twitter, follow all of the speakers as well. Go check out their website, unitt.io. Join up for their beta and alpha testing. Get your hands on the app. Give it a try, give it a whirl, and let them know your thoughts, your comments, your feedback, so that they can develop a really amazing app for everyone here in the Kadena ecosystem. So thank you very much, everyone, for joining us, and have a great day.
Thanks very much.
Thank you. Thanks. Bye-bye.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
That wraps up another amazing AMA. Thank you for listening. Here at KPN, we strive to bring an open platform for projects being built on Kadena to present themselves to the community. Please ensure to do your own research on each project before investing. Also ensure to follow us on all our social media, from Twitter to subscribing to our weekly newsletter, to ensure to keep up to date on everything KDA related. You can find all the links in the description below. Take care.